Level 1. The raw feed. The smell of ionized air and burning electronics is your baseline. You are crouched in a non-permissive environment, a cold concrete parking structure, where the only light comes from the status LED of a signal jammer. At this stage you are just another shadow in the mud. You are playing a high-risk, low-margin game where the board law enforcement and corporate security sees you as a replaceable gear. The friction is constant, and the cost of a single tactical error is systemic displacement. You aren't building an empire yet. You are simply surviving the logistics of the street. Phase 1. The primitive operation. Low-level load. The point of origin is the inefficiency of the street-level theft, characterized by high operational risk and a negligible margin of profit. In this mud phase, the operator depends on crude techniques like VIN cloning and signal relay, facing a constant threat of systemic displacement by law enforcement. This is a state of survival, not strategy, where the asset's value is lost to low-tier liquidation channels and the lack of a scalable protocol. You realize that the energy of your operation is being drained by low-value fences and unreliable crews who don't understand the science of strategy. The hustle is a delusion. Without a technical breach, you are merely a component in someone else's extraction model. Your current trajectory is a calculation of diminishing returns, where the window of opportunity is closing faster than you can scale. Level 2 minus specialization. The transition begins when you stop looking at the car and start looking at the architecture of the signal. You discover the loophole, the structural vulnerability in the very telematics designed to keep you out. This is the moment of transcendence. You aren't just a thief, you are a forensic auditor of security failures. When you realize that you can neutralize the GPS jamming protocols that the manufacturers themselves cannot bypass, the board of insurance conglomerates stops looking at you as a predator and starts looking at you as a solution. You move from manual labor to an intelligence-based intervention, trading the crowbar for a data relay node. Phase 2. The technical breach, the loophole discovery. The transition begins with the identification of a structural vulnerability in the security architecture of high-end logistics. By discovering a flaw in encrypted telematics, the operator moves from manual labor to an intelligence-based intervention. This is the first corporate alignment, where the board of an insurance conglomerate recognizes your ability to neutralize GPS jamming protocols that their own systems cannot bypass. You begin to audit the shadow hierarchy of the recovery world, identifying where the old guard of private investigators is failing to adapt to encrypted signals. The data silence of the industry becomes your playground. You are the only one who can hear the heartbeat of a $2 million asset in a dead zone. Empathy for the owner is replaced by a cold focus on the engineering of results. The asset is simply a variable to be recovered and secured. Before we scale into military-grade logistics, a master operator knows that capital must be extracted from every available node. While you monitor high-value targets, your digital infrastructure should be performing its own silent recovery. Honeygain allows you to monetize your unused internet bandwidth, turning a passive connection into a stream of liquid capital to fund your technical upgrades. It is the ultimate tool for a strategist who understands that even the smallest leak can be redirected into a reservoir of power. Use the link in the first pinned comment to start with a $3 bonus and begin your own resource extraction protocol today. Level 3 minus the operator protocol. The operation has matured. You no longer work in the shadows. You own them. Your command and control center utilizes LiDAR sensors and autonomous drone swarms to track assets across borders and through non-permissive environments where local authorities have zero leverage. You are the system's primary recovery arm. Every mission is a cold calculation of the window of opportunity, ensuring the liquidation of the competitor's interests while shielding your client's high-value inventory. You have moved from the mud to the strategic command, where the only thing that matters is the efficiency of the retrieval. Phase 3. Scaling the infrastructure. The military-grade expansion. The operation matures into a command and control center, utilizing LiDAR sensors and autonomous drone swarms for asset tracking in non-permissive environments. At this level, you are no longer evading the system. You are the system's primary recovery arm in high-risk zones, where traditional law enforcement has zero leverage. Every recovery is a calculation of window of opportunity, ensuring the asset liquidation of the competitor's interests, while shielding your client's high-value inventory. You utilize the logistics of scale to manage multiple extractions simultaneously, maintaining a perfect execution record that becomes your primary market currency. The psychology of power is used to dictate terms to the board. They pay your premium because the alternative, the total loss of the asset, is mathematically unacceptable. You have successfully decoupled your identity from the risk, operating through a hardened architecture of encrypted relays and elite contractors. Level 4. Systemic Mastery. The evolution is final. You sit in a boardroom overlooking the city, but you aren't there to interview for a job. You are there to dictate the terms of their survival. You have attained the $500,000 per hour status. Your authority is built on the cold mastery of the very variables that once categorized you as a criminal. Your silence is now more expensive than any technical manual. You have reprogrammed your past into a legacy of command, transforming a criminal background into a high-level strategic asset that the global market cannot function without. Phase 4. Hegemony of the Specialist. The $500,000 per hour protocol. The final evolution is the attainment of a $500,000 per hour status, where you dictate the rules of the sector to the very institutions that once categorized you as a predator. Your authority is built on the cold mastery of the boardroom logic, where your silence is more expensive than any technical manual. You have reprogrammed your past into a legacy of command, transforming a criminal background into a high-level strategic asset that the market cannot function without. The isolation of the summit is your new reality. You no longer have peers, only clients who fear your absence and competitors who fear your intervention. You have reached a state of systemic confidence where your decision is the final word in asset recovery logistics. Your internal fury has been refined into a cold, professional hegemony that controls the flow of billions in high-risk inventory. Level final. The system, the master. The transition from level 1 to level 100 is complete. You have successfully inverted the hunter-prey dynamic through the optimization of the operational load. You inhabit the strategic command, maintaining a perfect execution that the global elite must respect. The system did not defeat you. It became your most profitable client, validating your fury and your long-term vision. You are no longer an operator. You are the architect of the recovery empire. Conclusion. The architecture of absolute command. True success is the total inversion of the hunter-prey dynamic through the optimization of the operational load. You have exited the operational mud to inhabit the strategic command, maintaining a perfect execution that the global elite must respect. The system did not defeat you. It became your most profitable client, validating your fury and your calculation of long-term vision. You have achieved historical recognition as the master strategist who redefined the rules of asset protection. The weight of the final decision is now your greatest asset, a proof of your sovereignty in a world of variables. The power remains in your hands, absolute and unquestioned, governed by the cold logic of high-level execution. The cost of the summit. Look out at the city lights. Every luxury vehicle moving through those streets is a potential node in your network. You started by breaking into the system, and now, the system pays you $500 an hour just to keep it from breaking. Answer with the coldness of a master. Was the risk of the mud worth the absolute hegemony you now hold, or was this outcome always a mathematical certainty for someone with your stomach for the game?